Welcome to the Click. This is Order of Operations Notes Part 2. In this part, we will discuss absolute values versus the order of operations. So we are going to discuss if we have absolute values in our operations, what is the order going to be, how it's going to be. So when we have absolute value in our operation, we will evaluate everything inside the absolute value, just as if it were a normal parentheses. So we will consider the absolute value as a parentheses. You know why? Because the numbers in absolute values, they don't have any symbol. That's why they're in there, right? They don't have any symbol, no plus nor minus, so that is why we can consider them as a normal parentheses. Let's have an example about this. So, as you can see, I have 1 plus 3, absolute value open, or times minus 4 to the power of 2 minus times minus 8. And then we have absolute value again, plus 2, absolute value again open, 3 plus times minus 5 to the power of 2. So how many absolute values do we have in here? So this is 1 absolute value, 2 absolute values, 3 absolute values. So basically all the operation, all parts of it is in absolute values. Only 1 plus 3 is out. So we will start with the absolute values. Do you know why? Because we said that in operations, we are going to consider absolute values as parentheses, right? And in PEMDAS method, parentheses comes first. So we will start with absolute values. Okay, let me erase this part. Okay, so let's start with this one because it has an exponent to it. So minus 5 to the power of 2, it's going to be 25. Do you know why? Not minus 25, because minus is also raised to the power of 2 because it's in the parentheses and it's raised to the power of 2. So minus times minus equals plus, right? So it's going to be plus 25, and then we have 3 plus 25. Okay, right now, what am I going to do? I am going to simplify the other exponent that I have, but at the same time, I can simplify this part as well. So 3 plus 25, it's going to be 28 in the absolute value. And this one, so because only 4 is raised to the power of 2, it is going to be minus 16, right? And then we have minus 8. Okay, and I also forgot to put a negative in here. So right now, as I said, the parentheses equal absolute values. So that is why this part, plus 2 absolute value open, 28 absolute value closed, it's going to be 2 times 28, right? Because absolute value, this is the same to this, is the same as that. Okay, so in here, let's simplify this part as well. So I have minus times minus, which will be plus. So it's going to be minus 16 plus 8, right? Okay, right now I have 2 times 28, which will be 56, right? And in here I also have minus 16 plus 8, which will equal minus 8, right? Minus 8. So minus 8 in absolute value, and 1 plus 3. Just remember that this is a bullet point, it's not a minus, okay? So don't consider these. Okay, up until here, I have 1 plus 3 absolute value open, minus 8 absolute value closed, plus 56, right? So right now, my work has gotten very simple. As I said, absolute value is equal to parentheses. We can consider it as that. So it's going to be 1 plus 3 parentheses open, or times 8. Do you know why? Because minus 8 is an absolute value, and when it comes out of it, it means that it doesn't have any symbols, so it's going to be 8 simply, plus 56. And right now our work has gotten very, very simple. Let's look at it this way. So 3 times 8, it is going to be 24, right? So we have 1 plus 24 plus 56. Okay, right now that we just have addition, we are going to start from left. So 1 plus 24, 25, and 25 plus 56, 81. And that makes our result to be 81. So I just wanted to add a few notes. Please consider that if you have both the symbol and the number in parentheses, and that in those both of them are raised to a power, then you are going to raise both of them to a power. But if only the number has a power or an exponent, then only the number will be raised to the power or the exponent. And the second note is that in absolute values, because they don't have any symbols, that is why we can consider them as parentheses, and we discussed about this throughout the entire lesson. And with that, we're done. Thank you very much for being with me. Sources page.